Your money is sitting in savings earning next to nothing while inflation eats away at your purchasing power every month you wait. In 5 concrete steps, you'll move from complete beginner to actively investing and building wealth starting today. Before you put a single dollar into the stock market, you need to build 2 critical foundations that prevent costly investing mistakes later. Think of these as your financial safety net and your investment compass. Without them, you're essentially gambling with money you can't afford to lose. The first step is building an emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. That's rent or mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, and minimum debt payments, not your discretionary spending. If your essential monthly expenses are $3,500, you need between $10,500 and $21,000 set aside. Start with a $1,000 starter fund first, so a single car repair doesn't push you back to credit cards. Most people keep their emergency fund in a regular savings account earning almost nothing. High-yield savings accounts currently pay around 4.03% APY, with some reaching 4.10%, while the national average sits at 0.61% APY. That difference means a $15,000 emergency fund earns about $600 per year instead of $90. That's real money working for you even while sitting safely on the sidelines. Your specific situation determines where you land in that 3 to 6 month range. If your income fluctuates, you're a freelancer, commissioned salesperson, or work in a volatile industry, you need more cushion. Variable earners should lean towards 6 months or even 9 months worth, while stable full-time employees can comfortably aim for 3 to 6 months. Once your emergency fund is secure, you need to understand your risk tolerance and investment timeline before choosing any investments. This isn't just about whether you're aggressive or conservative, it's about matching your emotional comfort with market swings to your actual financial situation. Risk tolerance depends on 3 factors: your time horizon, your financial obligations, and your honest reaction to losses. If you have a mortgage, your own business, kids approaching college, or elderly parents who depend on you financially, you may be less likely to comfortably ride out a bear market than if you're single without major financial obligations. In general, the longer your time horizon, the more risk you can take since you'll have time to recover from market downturns. If you're in your 20s planning for retirement, you can probably afford to take on more risk because you have decades to make up for losses. But here's the reality check. Many investors initially think they're okay with risk when markets are rising, but that confidence gets shattered once markets decline. During a market downturn, an aggressive portfolio might drop significantly in value, and if you aren't comfortable with this volatility, you may panic and liquidate at a loss. The practical test is simple. If one of your portfolios dropped 20% in value over 6 months due to stock market fluctuation, would you keep that portfolio expecting it to recover? If your honest answer is no, you need a more conservative approach regardless of your age or timeline. Why does this foundation work matter so much? Because emergencies will happen. It's not a matter of if, but when. Whether it's a job loss, medical emergency, or major home repair, having 3 to 6 months of expenses saved gives you peace of mind and the power to face almost any crisis without debt. And understanding your true risk tolerance prevents you from making emotional decisions that can destroy years of progress in a single panicked moment. With your emergency fund fully funded in a high-yield account and your risk tolerance honestly assessed, you're finally ready to start actually investing your money for long-term growth. After hearing about emergency funds and risk tolerance, which foundation do you think trips up more beginner investors? Not having enough cash saved for emergencies, or misjudging how they'll react when their portfolio drops 20%? Drop your answer in the comments below. Now, let's move into the actual mechanics of opening your first investment account and putting your money to work. Now that you understand your risk tolerance and have your emergency fund secured, it's time to choose the right investment account and make your first investments work for you. This is where the rubber meets the road. You're moving from preparation to actually putting money into the market. Step 3 is selecting the investment account that maximizes your tax advantages. For 2026, you can contribute up to $24,500 to a 401k plan, while IRA contributions are capped at $7,500. If your
employer offers a 401k with matching contributions, that's your starting point. It's free money you can't afford to leave on the table. Even a 50% match on your first 6% of salary is an immediate 50% return on your investment before any market gains. If you're 50 or older, catch-up contributions allow you to add an extra $8,000 to your 401k and $1,100 to your IRA in 2026. However, there's a new rule starting this year. If you earned more than $150,000 in FICA wages in 2025, your catch-up contributions must be made to a Roth 401k with after-tax dollars. For most people, the decision comes down to traditional versus Roth accounts. Traditional accounts give you a tax deduction now, but you'll pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. Roth accounts use after-tax money now, but grow tax-free forever. If you expect to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement, Roth makes sense. If you expect to be in a lower bracket, traditional wins. When in doubt, splitting the difference between the two gives you flexibility. Step 4 is picking your first investments, and this is where simplicity beats complexity every time. An S&P 500 index fund is one of the best investment decisions you can make. The S&P 500 has delivered an average annual return of approximately 10 to 12% over its long history, including dividends. The Schwab S&P 500 Index Fund charges just 0.02%, meaning you'll pay only 20 cents per $1,000 invested annually. Compare that to actively managed funds that often charge 10 times more with no guarantee of better performance. While the average mutual fund expense ratio is over 0.80%, the typical index fund expense ratio will be below 0.20%. An S&P 500 index fund means you're investing in Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and hundreds of other giants all at once, spreading your risk across the entire US large-cap market. You own a piece of the entire market instead of betting on individual companies, which means greater diversification and lower risk, usually all at a low cost. A common portfolio allocation for beginner investors is 85% stocks and 15% bonds. If you're starting out with just $200, you can set up this portfolio simply by buying $170 worth of FNILX and $30 worth of FXNAX. These are the cheapest S&P 500 index fund and bond index fund available. Step 5 is automating everything so you never have to think about it again. Set up automatic contributions from your paycheck to your 401k. Start with whatever gets you the full employer match, then increase by 1% every year until you hit the maximum. For your IRA, schedule automatic monthly transfers of $625 to max out the $7,500 annual limit or whatever amount fits your budget. The key is making it automatic because consistency beats timing every time. Dollar cost averaging means you buy more shares when prices are low and fewer when they're high, smoothing out market volatility over time. This set-it-and-forget-it strategy removes the emotional pitfalls and time commitment associated with stock picking, allowing you to focus on consistent contributions and letting compound interest do its magic. Here's what compound growth looks like in practice. If you invest $500 monthly in an S&P 500 index fund, earning the historical average of 10% annually, you'll have about $102,000 after 10 years, $380,000 after 20 years, and over $1.1 million after 30 years. That's the power of starting early and staying consistent. With your emergency fund protecting you, your risk tolerance guiding your choices, your account maximizing tax advantages, your index funds providing broad market exposure, and automation ensuring consistency, you've built a complete wealth-building system that works while you sleep. These 5 steps transform you from someone who thinks about investing someday into someone whose money is actively growing toward financial independence. These 5 steps turn anyone into an investor. Subscribe for more wealth-building strategies and watch this next video. It goes even deeper.